AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Democrat of the day. We head on down to 57A, but soon to be 56A. Representative Robert Bierman is kind enough to join us. He is down the Apple Valley way. He's kind enough to take some time to talk about the last session as well as his campaign to go back to St. Paul. Representative, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. It's great to be with you today and to be on the show and just talk a little bit about what's happening in district here and what we're facing with the unfinished business of the session that just was. Yeah. So I've been out door knocking today, and I'll be doing that every day until election day. So
are you hydrating? Yeah. Are you hydrating after the door knocking? Please.
I will admit, today was a short one. It's warm out there, you know it, and I am hydrating and keep going and stay on the shady side of the street as much as possible. So we did take a little break and was doing some phone banking here just a short time ago.
There you go.
And great to have time to chat with you a little bit.
First things first, let's talk the redistricting in your district. Your district moved north somewhat. You used to have some of Lakeville in there, and now it really kind of goes up to the very northern border of Apple Valley. It's pretty much most of the northern part of Apple Valley, right?
Exactly. It is. We had some districts down in Lakeville, and now we are an all Apple Valley district. It's not the complete Apple Valley, but we had large growth in this area. So I really like the redistricting because it keeps the city more unified. I picked up the third high school down here. I picked up the Apple Valley Zoo in my district.
Nice.
So it really is a nice unit to represent and really kind of simplifies some of the things that I deal with. So I'm really happy with redistricting. It came out pretty well.
You, of course, let's run through your this last session here. You're the vice chair of the Preventive Health Policy Division. You're also Industrial Education, Economic Development, Climate and Energy Finance and Policy, Health Finance and Policy. You went into this session here with an idea that you're going to try to get some things done in an election year. Unfortunately, your Republican counterparts, primarily the ones in the Senate, but as well some of them in the House, had different ideas. And there were some things that didn't get done where it just did not seem that there was an intent by the Republicans to get things done, such as the education bill and other issues. And now where even though that there's the potential of a special session, it seems like the Republicans have turned their back on it and they don't seem to be interested in doing a special session, even though there are unfinished tasks still on the table.
Yes, that about sums it up. We have so much that we worked hard on through this whole term, and I thought we had buy-in from both sides as far as coming to an agreement in mid-May where we would, do the tax cuts for about $4 billion, and we would do some spending on critical needs in Minnesota, put $4 billion on the bottom line for the next term. And I thought we had that agreement pretty well locked down. And then the slow walk started to come right into conference committees. So a lot of things fell by the wayside, just jammed up the works. And, we have things like the bonding bill, statewide needs that we need to get done. We need to have that done. There's the, largest tax cut in Minnesota history sitting there, completed, ready to go. It's very targeted relief. A lot of things in energy and climate that, we need in this day and age to help the state transform and, work on. I had some bills on electric cars that, charging stations. We had quite a bit in there as far as solar rewards and a weatherization bill that was all negotiated with the Senate. So there's things also like solar on schools, helping schools save money. Those bills are done, ready. They're not, things that we were really too far off on, and I think that we really missed an opportunity there during session to get that done. I think education bill, of course, there was a lot of work I was doing in regards to special education cross-subsidy, which schools across the state, as I talked to people from Onamia and Northfield and my own district and Sauk Center, all the school districts need this help. And so that was very disappointing not to get those bills done. And now we're trying to get Republicans back to the table, and essentially they're blocking that at this point. So when I'm out on the doors, I'm hearing a lot about this, And I'm hearing people say, this is defunding education at this point. This is defunding public safety at this point. This is defunding the healthcare needs we have, and certainly defunding serious proposals to help, with the workforce that we need in so many industries. So it is imperative that we get back, and I'm going to continue to work on that and see if we can't get something still this year. I did hear, maybe that they would come back after primaries in their elections, but, I think that we can't wait until next year at this time to have the things that Minnesotans need. And it's just simply imperative that we get back and get these things done that are ready to go.
I first of all, I want to commend you because you're going after the Republicans, the low hanging fruit. You're right; they didn't do anything. I remember the video of the Education Committee. And the Democratic House is like, wait a minute here, aren't you guys going to work with us on this bill? And, watching that kind of the Republicans really kind of show their hand at that point. The reality is that this is in the state of Minnesota. I mean, there's a lot of things that were left on the table. My thought is going to be is after the election is over in November, when Governor Walz wins and the House and the Senate are now in the DFL hands. That the Republicans at that point are going to beg for a special session to pass all those bills we had in agreement before the next session begins. There doesn't seem to be a lot. There's a gamble they are taking here that they will take over the entire government. I just do not see that happening. And the reality is that what we've got right now is people in Minnesota, especially you look at education, for goodness sakes, they didn't put any money at all out for education. And that was what they thought was a good education bill. I mean, it really is a stark difference. And when you talk to people about it, it's very clear that the DFL is the party that needs to be in power in the state of Minnesota.
Well, I can't agree with you more. And you put a smile on your face with the prospect of the election turning that way. And, I think that is possible. There is a path to victory to take both chambers. I know that, and I think as I'm out there talking to people and they learn what's going on, I have a lot of calls that people are making to me and letters. They're asking me to go back in special session, and I do tell them who they need to contact to get this done, because we, the Democrats, we are ready to go back tomorrow, as is the governor. He's ready to call it, but we need to get the basics of an agreement ready. And certainly it is exactly that. The other side that has measured the drapes in our offices and has determined that they're going to take power and spend this in a completely different fashion rather than on the needs of Minnesotans. And I think we had some fantastic bills that, we would make a real difference for Minnesota schools, getting counselors and nurses and help for, social workers in the school. There was a bill from my colleague, Representative Berg, for 1,100 counselors. We need that in our schools, and that special education cross-subsidy is something schools have been clamoring for years, and it sets them back, and it would go a long way toward solving that issue. I had a meet and greet last Sunday where I was confronted by somebody who compared the education bill on the Senate side, which was 9 pages, I believe, to our bill, which was 240 pages, and she said, "This just cannot stand." And so we need to get them back, put the money to work, and not walk away from the long work and the bills that we have vetted and created to make improvements in people's lives immediately.
I've looked at redistricting. I've looked at the maps. These do definitely favor the DFL taking over here. I've talked to a lot of candidates on Democrat of the Day. There's a lot of great DFLers that are running out there. You just got to get out there and fight because, like I said, the Republicans, it's a clown car show. They're not really serious about running. They've got their agenda. They're the pro-gun party. They're the anti-choice party. They're basically the party that's not getting things done. You've got an anti-vaxxer ticket on the top there, and you've got the Secretary of State, for goodness sakes, doesn't like elections and had an anti-Semitic video at the convention. They are weak. We can win this. I think there's a lot of positive here for the DFL right now. Your new district, 57A to 56A, as it changes here. Let's talk about it. You are running for re-election, so what in your district directly is something that's important for you that you want to address in this upcoming session?
Well, I think we've talked about some of them. My district reflects the needs of the states. It's in education. It's in making sure that the gem that we have here in the district, the Minnesota Zoo, is well cared for. I think that it is issues of paid family medical leave is a big issue in my district. That's something that also resonates with me from day one, and is one of the reasons I ran. Paid family medical leave is something for my small business that would be transformative for my employees and their families. It's a family values issue. It is an issue that finally this year, for the first time, the Republicans have actually come out with their own plan and have acknowledged that people even in their districts need it.
Yeah.
However, their plan won't work, and our plan will. So that's something that I'm hearing a lot about. So all of those things, education, housing, of course. Housing is an issue here in this district, but that's an issue across the state as well. And that's another issue that we have left on the table back in St. Paul.
And you bring up housing down there, and I go down to your district a lot, actually. I'm down there with kids' sports, activities, stuff like that. There is a tremendous amount of growth there, and it does seem like your district does a pretty good job down there, and that's a lot of it know as Apple Valley, the city itself. But there it is seeming to understand that, along with nicer homes, middle class, upper class homes, you are getting the housing for the working class as well getting installed too. And I think that that's an important balance. A lot of people can look at your district and see how you do it right. It is still a challenge. It always will be a challenge. But you guys are, I think, having a lot better success down in your district than I think in a lot of other districts.
Yeah, and I credit the city leaders over the last 20 years who have really looked at different programs to address the housing needs of different folks at different levels of income, different jobs that people are doing, whether it's workforce housing. We do have a lot of immigrants in the area, and housing for everybody, every level is what we're needing. So the problem is that we were the second largest district as far as population increase in the state. That's why my district had to shrink so much.
Yeah.
So people are coming here. People are seeing that there's a good, vibrant city here that they want to be part of. But we need to make sure and continue to address that housing need in Apple Valley. But I think our city has done a pretty good job at it. We just can't build units fast enough, and we're really in our last area of building that we can do. So we just need to now work on affordability and keeping houses and property taxes at a point where people can afford the homes in the city.
Last thing I want to mention, you've said you bring in the Minnesota Zoo is now part of your district. Have you met with those guys? Because I agree with you. It's a jewel in the state. I've been down there. I have a membership. I've had a membership for many, many years. I took my kids out there. Every time I go out there, there's 20 school buses out there. It is really an asset to the state of Minnesota. What are your thoughts on there and how we can help them out and make that zoo even better?
Great question, and you're absolutely right. It is an asset, and it is very busy. It's an educational center. Mm-hmm. And so we need to recognize that it is a jewel in the state of Minnesota, but it needs work. It's nearing 50 years old. And so some things have broken down. Right now, currently, the plaza, one of the main thoroughfares on the backside of the zoo, through the zoo, it's in need of historic renovation, and we have that in the bonding bill right now that's sitting in St. Paul. But it's one of those immediate need things. It needs to be done now. They're closing it in the wintertime due to weight and traffic. They can't even put a machine to take the snow off of it right now because they're worried about the infrastructure of it. So that's an immediate need. They're also needing a new vet hospital there. That is the original hospital down there. I've toured it a couple times. And we had the Senate End House out on a bonding tour. They saw the need. We need to do that. We did pass the Treetop Trail the session before this one, and that is going to be an amazing addition to the Minnesota Zoo where people can come out and take the longest Treetop Trail walk in the world. It's going to be fantastic, and that construction will start soon. So there's a lot going on at the zoo. In terms of what we've been able to accomplish, but we have immediate needs out there right now. And if you've been in the bowels of the building and you see how old the infrastructure is, inside, we're going to need to put some investment in that as well. But it is we have the zoo school right there. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful for education. It's a wonderful place to take families across the state and the world. So it is truly something that we need to care for as a state asset.
All right. We got to get, some of the districts are, and I'm not going to say which one. Some of the DFL districts that we hold, especially in the inner core of the metro, are relatively safe DFLers. Doesn't mean don't go help your DFLer. By all means, help your local DFLer. Make a donation, volunteer by all means. But we need to get into these suburban districts and get out there with donations and money, because the map favors the DFL. It now is, how bad do you want that map to come to fruition? And that means DFLers need to get out of their safe seats and get into seats like this new 56A and help out Robert Bierman to get back to St. Paul. Representative, what's the website people should find out if they would like to volunteer or donate to your campaign?
Thank you, Matt. Yes, the website is electrobertbierman.com, and that's Bierman is Bierman. And you can sign up to volunteer there. You can make a donation there. Would greatly appreciate it. This is a district that has been swingy in the past, and we need to make sure that we hold this one blue. As you know, the election's going to run through the suburbs this year, and we expect a formidable challenge. But I'm going to be working tirelessly to maintain the seat, and I have phenomenal core of people that will help, but we can always use more door knockers. We can always use, of course, the financial help, so really appreciate that. And
by the way, as we're talking here, I'm having listeners mention how their kids went to the zoo school, so obviously a great asset, a lot of positive vibe coming on that. We need you down there. We need to make sure we get the district gets the funding, and we need your passion and your leadership in St. Paul to continue on the good work that you've been there, especially with the DFL House, a DFL Senate, and DFL Governor. Robert Bierman, Representative 57A right now, 56A in the fall. Representative, thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Matt. Have a good rest of the day. Appreciate
you too.
It.
All my best on the phone banking tonight. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show right here on AM 950.